that he is going to benefit from their regeneration and a bunch of other crap.
Wow.
What?
Wow. Okay, we're back. We're in game. That was really intense. We'll talk about it in the post game. We're going to have a lot to talk about in the post game. But for now, friends, we are able to make our way the rest of the way to the city of Silverymoon. Love it. Gale, that's the one. So now the last like actual city that this group has been in was the coastal city of Waterdeep, which is a
Tribor.
Oh, Tribor as well. I mean, Tribor is
Tribor is a city.
That's true. That's true. So Waterdeep is a coastal city that's very, very metropolitan. Tribor is a trading city that is mostly humans and dwarves, although it also has a bit of diversity as well.
Passing through, yeah.
Whereas Silverymoon is primarily an elven city, which means that it is right on the edge of this forest here. And the city is less like hewn out of the forest and more kind of built into the forest. I've got a couple of images for you. So we'll start with a sort of overlook of Silverymoon. And as you can see, the city of Silverymoon is very green, it's very lush, it's surrounded by forest, and it is more or less bisected, not quite, by a river running directly through. And you are going to be approaching from the sort of north here, along the river. So you'll begin to hear the river as you come in. And one other note, which you'll see once you actually get into the city, is that the river, as I said, sort of cuts the city in half. You can barely see it in this image, but there is a bridge, a single bridge that is spanning the river, and that bridge. Hold on. Is a magical construct called the Moon Bridge. Doesn't have any handrails. There is no elven OSHA. You want to stick to the to the middle of it if you decide to cross over. The river is kind of somewhere in between rapids and lazy, so it's not like super duper. If you fall into it, you will die. But it's also, it's a full on river.
So yeah,
it's also not that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it depends on how deep it is, where you fall in, and how narrow. For how immediately dangerous the water is.
So you make your way to the city of Silverymoon, and again, it's difficult to put into words the sheer beauty and grandeur of this place, where Waterdeep is definitely constructed through magic in certain places. Waterdeep is kind of a hodgepodge, right? There are a lot of different races all living together. There are a lot of different districts. There's a lot of places that are not so great. There are a lot of places that are gorgeous. Silverymoon is beautiful from beginning to end. Every building, every place that you look at is breathtaking. And definitely magically constructed in many places.
Magic had a hand in all of the architecture.
In sharp contrast to how Calder felt kind of at home in Waterdeep, he feels like distinctly tense and uncomfortable in these surroundings.
Yes, that makes a ton of sense to me.
Echo's not really taking in the grandeur. He's honestly still just like every 5 seconds or so glancing up at Barnabus and then around them and what time do we arrive? Because we started at sunset and then it was less than a day away. So do we get here at
It is still nighttime. It was not. You're right. It is less than a day away. We'll say it's coming up on dawn as you get there. You are traveling through the night. Barnabus is sitting in the back of the cart. Actually, Barnabas is probably laying in the back of the cart. He has doffed his armor and is kind of breathing hard the whole time. Yes.
Echo would be, once we found the cart, moved him from elk to cart, Echo would be sitting next to him.
Thank you, Rye. So the place where you enter is over here, section 2, called the Moor Gate. and you approach with a cart and a giant fuck-all elk, which turns out to not be all that unusual to the elven guards at the gate. Like, they look askance more at Barnabus than they do at the elk.
I was gonna say, as the sun rises behind us, the elk vanishes. Because it's until sunrise, right?
Oh, it is until sunrise,
until
yeah?
the next dawn?
Yep.
So as the sun rises...
On the approach vanishes as we reach the gate.
Totally. Nobody was on it when it vanished, were they?
Yeah. Okay. Wisely. Well, Calder would have said, like, when he saw like the hints of sunrise, like, okay, time to get off this thing.
Time to get off before it turns into a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Did we have long enough in our journey sitting in the cart for that last bit of it to get a short rest?
Yes, and I will go ahead and spend some dice for Barnabas. I probably shouldn't have zoomed in so much on this map.
I am invoking my Bloodwell vial for my 5 meta magic points.
Very nice. We'll go ahead and pull up Barnabas's sheet. And he will, as he is laying in the cart, will spend some hit dice to try to heal.
As well.
Ooh, nice. Is there a maximum to the amount that you can spend on a short rest?
Nope, you can spend them all. You get half of your expended hit, or half of your total hit dice back on a long rest.
So by the time you get there, Barnabas, his breathing has become easier. He is no longer like tossing and turning and sweating, but like the wounds don't just magically go away in an hour, right? That's not how even short rests work. So he's still covered in blood, still covered in ragged wounds. I assume that Echo has been sort of wrapping them up and cleaning them.
Yeah, with the earlier medicine check, like once they're in the cart, like, doing his best to, because he knows medicine, he knows how to treat, like he knows first aid, that sort of thing. So he's like trying to keep them clean, make sure there's no debris in them, like prevent infection setting in down the line.
I see that chat has discovered the emote wall. Big fan of that. I like a little bit of interactivity in my game.
Calder is keeping his eye open for temples. He wants to get to like a temple, ideally to a good deity ASAP.
Absolutely.
One more note for before we reach the gate. Once we finish that long rest, Echo's eyes are no longer glowing.
Gotcha.
Short rest, you mean?
Yeah, short rest. Yeah, after a short rest, that effect ends.
Gotcha.
He has his dark vision back again.
So the guards kind of flag you down. They don't look alarmed or anything. They don't look like they're going to give you any hassle. But as the cart arrives, as the cart approaches, one of the guards will step forward and sort of put his hand up and say, what is your business here in Silverymoon?
Calder will seem like presumably they're speaking Elvish, right?
None of you are elves, so no. We're going to say that they're speaking in common.
Okay.
Once they're stopped, make his way to the front of the cart.
Calder will speak in clipped, if very like overly perfect Elvish. They'll recognize it as the specific accent of the Sun Elves. My name is Calder Creed. I am the son of Arlethia of the. I pull up the name here. Arlethia of the Tel'Kasir.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check. Take advantage. They're definitely impressed by your Elvish. Even if it's clipped, the fact that you're making the effort is important.
Do we have any bonuses from chat?
We have a +2 from Gale.
Yeah.
Oof. So you
No, actually, I'm not done. I'm gonna spend a sorcery point.
Go for it.
Because I got bullshit.
Yeah.
That's right. Go ahead and spend that sorcery point. Take advantage again. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So a little bit of magic gets laced into my words.
Yeah, for a moment, like you make a weird turn of phrase, and like the elf's brow furrows a little bit, but you're able to recover very quickly, correct yourself, and move on. And
but critically,
yes, the guard is very, very positively disposed towards you almost immediately.
we are our friend here is in great need of the removal of a curse now.
Echo's kind of like he's come up to the part of the cart where he's behind Calder, and he hasn't pulled out the wooden token yet. He's kind of hesitating to see what happens.
Totally.
You have orcish werewolves in your land. Take us to a healer now.
That gets his attention. Instantaneous, like the eyebrows go up as high as they can possibly go, and he says, "You're going to be looking for the." Hold on, I found it a second ago. It's number 14, the Temple of Silver Stars. It's on the other side of the city. Would you like an escort?
Yes, now.
So he and the other guard immediately fall in behind the aside the cart, and as they begin to walk away from their post, one of them sort of motions to a little guardhouse, and another pair of elves come out and take up station, and they take you through the like along the river, essentially, past the moon bridge, by the way,
So
and then
cross the moon bridge. Horses get a little horses that have never seen this before, probably a little skittish at first.
not across it, past it.
Past
You are staying in the northern section of. If you look at the map, number 14 is in the eastern quadrant of, or the northeastern quadrant of the city.
On that big ass tree.
Yes, right by the very, very large tree that is the tree number 18, which is called the Star Court, and the large tree there is actually a building. It's a building that appears to be grown rather than built. And the branches sort of twist together to form little canopies, and there are sort of rope walkways between them above you. And you see commerce, like you do go through the marketplace, and the guards are very loudly saying, "Make way! We have an emergency! Please make way!" And you're able to get to the temple in record time, no problem.
Echo comments to Barnabas as they are passing the tree that I thought I'd seen all the wonders that plants could do in the gardens of Neverwinter, but that is really cool.
He looks up at it, and he shudders, and he says, "I don't really much like trees these days."
Fair.
Jeff is laughing. Calder is directly coordinating with the guard up front and relaying tactical information. How many were there? Where did we find them? What do I think there were? I
The
relay
other
all that information. I
Yeah.
make mention we saw evidence of an attacked merchant cart, and that's all I'll say on that topic.
And as you're going, like the guards do call to others and bring them to them and send runners off to take messages to patrols to get out there. And before you go, there are like flying Pegasus patrols that go out to check out the site of the fight.
I'll let them know that they'll find the site when they find the giant acid-soaked crater.
It's easily visible from the sky, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we get to this temple. Like Barnabas isn't injured enough. Like he can walk, right? Like Echo's
Yes.
kind of like, you know, under his
He's
arm,
definitely
helping
kind
him
of
walk.
limping. Yeah, he's not doing well. But he's
probably
already
better
taken
in-
his armor off, so he's able to sort of stagger into the temple.
He probably feels more like himself as soon as the sun rises.
Yes, he definitely feels better, but like still very, very severely injured.
Calder is like animatedly concerned, but isn't sharing why, but is just making it seem like my friend is hurt. My friend is hurt. That's enough for me to be worried about.
Wait,
He's
you
worried
said
about something more.
Yeah, you said curse to the guard, but was that in Elvish?
He said it.
Oh, okay. So Echo doesn't know about that. Gotcha.
We need to see about the removal of a curse. That's all he'll
Yeah.
say.
What does this temple look like? Is it to a specific god? Can we tell?
I don't have that information on me at the moment. I imagine it's Maliki, because that's kind of the vibe that we've got here.
Well, I also meta knowledge. Olivia knows that somewhere in Silverymoon there is a temple to Tamora.
Yes, this is not that temple, but yes, there is a temple to Tamora in there somewhere. I'm gonna say Maliki because again, like an elf would immediately think to send you to the main temple.
Yes.
Yes, right. We don't want people spamming it. Otherwise, the game will lose all challenge. So you managed to get there, and you know you've got your standard sort of acolytes dressed in white who are ready to receive you. A runner was sent to the temple ahead of time, so there are healers like ready to attend to Barnabas the moment that you get there. What do you say to them?
He got
I
bit by werewolves.
he was bitten by werewolves.
Go ahead.
Critically, if they ask for his name, Calder will make a point to use the alias that Barnabas gave them in Waterdeep,
Rather than using his king name. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, like that. Like, the king being in Silverymoon causes ripples. We need that to be. We need that.
Keep it on the DL. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Camino Sai redeems advantage for the next roll, so we'll make sure to note that down for next time. And yes, so one of the acolytes will speak with the guard in Elvish. Calder, you know that they are conversing about the nature of this, and they kind of look at Barnabas, and they look at all the bandages, and they converse back and forth. And the guard turns around and says, "They can take it from here, but it will take them some time to examine the wounds and perform the ritual. He will be safe here. Do you have a place to stay? You only just arrived."
We only just read and did not make such accommodations.
Of course. Well, your friend will be very safe here, and he will be well taken care of. I would suggest that you find a place to relax and maybe have a meal. It seems like you all have had quite an ordeal.
Calder will nod in agreement to that, and will turn and explain to Echo what's happening next.
Echo seems a little hesitant to leave Barnabas, and he's, like whatever like bed or something they've put him on, like Echo's standing next to him.
We are in the middle of a temple to one of the better elven gods.
Little more volume, Jeff.
We are in the middle of a temple to one of the better elven gods. There are very few places where he is safer.
Echo's is understanding what Calder's saying, but he's gonna look to Barnabas and be like, Are you okay? Do you want us to stay until they've healed you, or?
I'll be okay. You have work to do here.
Echo's going to gently, around the wounds, give him a hug.
Mm-hmm.
Before
he kind of awkwardly returns it with a pat on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Still a little bit awkward with the touching, and he will be escorted into the temple.
To say, as Echo pulls out of the hug, he will put a kiss on Barnabas's brow and cast Cure Wounds on him.
Oh, so adorable! Go ahead and roll that damage, or go ahead and roll that healing.
Yeah, I don't see his pog anymore, so I'm just gonna roll it into chat.
Nice.
Yeah. And stands there watching until he's out of line sight. Yeah.
Totally.
Line of sight, and then turns and looks up at Calder like, okay. Are there any of the guards still standing around?
Yes.
That escorted us here?
Now that the duty has been done, one of the guards will turn to Calder and in Elvish say, "Is there anything else you require before we return to our posts?"
I will thank them both for their assistance. I will ensure that their names are spoken of. I'll ask for their names so I can speak of them positively to my mother, and will ask for the location of a place where we may rest. Which one they would recommend.
And Echo's a little lost because he can't understand
Elvish.
But he does pull out the wooden token and is like, waiting for a break in the conversation to like jump in and show it.
And the guard looks down, and like again, the eyebrows go up a little bit, and he says, in common, "You are just full of surprises, aren't you?
She said I could show it to any guard.
You are looking for the Gilded Lily. Ask for Thomas."
Where is the Gilded Lily?
Ah, yes, of course. So
First time in town.
the market square is area 17, so it's like right adjacent to where the temple's at.
Like just down the road, yeah.
So yeah, it's fairly easy to find the tavern, no problem.
All right.
But yeah. So
Head off.
deep sigh, like just a slightly relieved sigh. Let's get settled in.
So as you enter the Gilded Lily, there is already a sort of mixed crowd of humans and elves in there.
It's early morning.
Yes. So
breakfast.
they're in there sort of enjoying leaves or whatever it is that elves eat for breakfast.
Hyper nutritious bread and salads, yes.
Like good nutty bread. Like
Ooh, that's not right. That's not the right one. Hold on.
Like
There we
good
go.
breads, toast, jams.
lots of like kind of like chutneys and stuff to put on flatbreads, like flavorful foods. Like they have all of this time to dedicate to the culinary arts. Elven food has to taste amazing.
Is probably absolutely spectacular. Yeah, not quite as what's the word? Like stick to your ribs as maybe a dwarf would like, but definitely delicious. Yes.
This isn't a barbecue joint now.
And as you walk in, there is sort of a white-haired human sitting on a raised dais on a box, and there is behind him a woman with a little lap harp. And as you come in, the woman begins to play, and the man begins to speak. And I have something for you right now. Give me just a moment to pull it up. He looks around, and as he clears his voice and as the harp begins to play, the noise of the pub begins to sort of settle down, and he begins to tell a story. He looks around and says, "The elves of Everesca say that their city is the birthplace of their people, the very place where the elven god battled Grumsh the One-Eyed, may Moradin smite him, and their war came to its grisly conclusion. You all know the tale, yes?" And the bard looks around the room as though expecting an answer, but the crowd simply watches in silence.
Echo will shake his head, like one of the bard's like eyes, like.
Their tale, as he like notes your shaking of the head as you come in. Their tale says that Grumsh took insult when the Corellon Larethian failed to show him proper deference. As the Moon Elves would tell it, the Orc god hurled a spear which would paralyze any that it pierced. Larethian put an arrow to the string of his bow and shot out the left eye of Grumsh. The Orcs tell another version of the tale. The shamans under the mountains claimed that Grumsh never had two eyes. All their idols are Cyclops, a single eye in the center of his boar-boned forehead, but they hate the elves. Hated, perhaps. They claim that the great fairy, so they named the elven god, tried to blind the unblinking eye, but his arrow went astray. But enough of the Orcs. Their tale has changed much since the alliance of many arrows. The elven god had a wicked and unworthy wife, treacherous as she was fair to behold. Deceived by her blinding beauty, Larethian knew nothing of the darkness hidden within her heart. Only his wife's handmaiden, the one called Sehanine, knew the truth, that her mistress was false. The bed-swerver feigned to stray into the snares of Grumpsh. The orc god laid filthy paws upon her, imprisoned her in his castle, locked her away in his dungeons, but this was not but a ruse of her own design. All the while she conspired with him against her husband, seduced the boar-headed fool to see her husband slain. Oop, again, wrong one. God damn it, Cunningham. As this story is continuing, what are the two of you doing?
Calder will make sure that, well, I'm guessing that Echo is entranced by the tale. So we'll find an empty seat to park Echo while he goes off to make room accommodations.
Yeah, Echo will slip the token into Calder's hand as he's sitting down and paying attention to a bard doing a performance. I mean, he mentioned the Eye of Grumsh, and Echo knows that they ran into clerics of Grumsh in the Forge of Fury. So Echo's like, this is a little serendipitous. Let me listen to this tale.
And then Calder?
And while Calder's making room accommodations, he'll ask, where is Thomas?
So you walk up to the bar. The bartender is, like everyone else, kind of mostly paying attention to the bard, but also as you approach, gives you a smile. And you ask, where is Thomas? And she smiles and nods to the gentleman telling the tale.
Of course. Thank you. We'll make accommodations for decent, but not like their most extravagant rooms.
The story continues. Ignorant of her malice, Lorethian went to rescue his beloved bride. He laid siege to the castle of Grumsh, launched volley after volley from his magical bow, piercing Grumsh and spilling his blood. But the bed-swerver betrayed him. She gave into the hand of her captor a magically poisoned spear, a weapon of her own design. The spear might have struck the mark, might have pierced the target, but in his eager, trembling haste, in his unbridled passion, Grumsh sent the shaft a hair's breadth wide. The battle between the two gods raged across all worlds and struck Faerun like a meteor, like a fallen star that smites the earth. The Grumsh fled from the hunter. The orcs say Lorethian fled from Grumsh. Grumsh fled to the mountains and climbed a tall peak from which he could espy his pursuer's approach. Lorethian came hurtling toward him, climbing warily into the heights, still hunting his quarry. Lorethian struck with his holy sword Sahandarain, and smote Grumsh such a fierce blow that the blade shattered, broke into pieces, yet his hand still clutched the hilt. The two gods grappled one another, rending the earth and breaking the ground beneath them. They tumbled from the mountains and fell upon the forest. As the night grew near, Lorethian's strength waned, but the strength of Grumsh waxed. Grumsh gnashed at his adversary and tore at his flesh with fingernails like claws. 7 great strokes rent the Saladarine's flesh and bared his bones, one for each of the 7 woes that would strike his people. The broken body of the dying god, still clutching the hilt of the broken blade Sahandarian, fell in the forested hills near the place where we now sit this very morning. His blood poured out of his body and soaked the ground all about. As the tale continues, what do you do?
Now that he has achieved room, we'll rejoin Echo.
No problem. So yeah, you're able to get a room pretty quickly. Are you ordering food or drink?
Yes.
Can Echo do an insight check on this bard?
Absolutely. And in fact, as the tale continues, an illusion of the scene that he is telling appears above the heads of the patrons in the tavern. So you can actually see Grumsh and Corellin Lorethian fighting amongst one another, and you see Corellin Lorethian fall to the ground, and you see his blood soak the earth. And go ahead and make that insight check.
It's a 15. He just wants to Seems like an odd tale to be telling
Mm-hmm.
about the defeat of his own god, and the fact that he keeps referencing what the orcs, like their version of the story is. This seems an odd pick for early morning entertainment to echo. So he's just like trying to like
Early
what's
morning entertainment in an elven city.
yeah,
Yes.
right? Like this is an odd selection. So Echo's just trying to like, what's this dude's vibe? Is he here? Like everyone's paying attention to him, but it doesn't seem like this would be a crowd pleasing story.
With a 15, you will say, or you will hear sort of that, this story probably does have a happy ending, but also he's telling the story not of the defeat of the elven god, he's telling the story of the creation of the elves.
Okay. Like Echo
Um,
recognizes.
you,
Okay.
you kind of, I mean, you're a performer. You know the story. This is about what you have expected, but it's slightly different, right? Different places tell the story differently.
Yeah.
This is the first time you have heard of Corellin Larethian being killed here near Silverymoon, but then pretty much anywhere you go, the place where he actually fell is different from place to place. Usually nearby, it turns out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
From afar, Sehanine Moonbow, the handmaiden, listened to the battle unfold, helpless to assist under a moonless sky. When the two moons at last rose over young Rones, the handmaiden peered down upon Faerun and saw her master's lifeless body, prone, sprawled out upon the ground, unbreathing and unmoving in the midst of a widening patch of blood-soaked soil. Sehanine made haste and descended into Faerun, stepped lightly into the world. She wove together shafts of moonlight, stitched together moon shadow and mist to create a blanket of illusions that frightened and confused the pig-headed god and kept him distracted, lest he come near and desecrate the body of her master. Now the handmaiden came to the place where her master lay. She wept over his corpse, wailed over his body, anointed him with her tears. Abundant tears spilled and mingled with the blood and with the soil of Faerun, giving birth to the firstborn among the elves. That is how they tell it. The fountain of her tears swelled to form a river, this handmaiden, that flows past us even now. And so it is named, even in the Dwur tongue, from the ancient times. And her tears revived the god, and he stood and took her as a wife over the treacherous woman who brought about his downfall. He looks around. Is it true? Were the elves born here in this very place from the blood of Larethian? Priests and bards say these things. They make for good poetry and good religion. But only the priests here in Silverymoon will tell you that these things happen where we sit. They claim that the inner sanctum of the Corellin marks the actual spot where his blood soaked the ground. But of course, my friends, Ogma knows that you cannot trust the word of priests or bards. A chuckle passes over the crowd. Who can say what is true? But perhaps it is, in some manner. And he bows, and there's applause.
Is anyone throwing coins?
Yeah, there's some silver and even the flash of gold here and there. Not like hurled, but yeah, like flipped up.
Twist onto the Echo will fish out a gold and chuck it up as well.
And as he finishes his tale, the woman with the harp strums one last chord, sets it down, smiles up at Thomas, and he smiles back, descends from the dais, and
Calder will like gently tug Echo up and will try and intercept them.
you are not the only one going to meet with him, but he immediately makes his way and sort of kindly waves off those adoring followers who are coming up to him. Go ahead.
I have a cool moment if you want.
By all means.
Anticipating this, because Calder knows about eyes, pushing the token back into Echo's hand, and we'll say you're small, and then Calder will intercept the other crowd that is coming to that is also trying to intercept Thomas and let Echo get close in the confusion.
As you do so, Thomas is looking directly at Echo as he comes down, and he looks kindly.
Yeah.
And
Echo
his cloak, as you get closer, his cloak is covered in a multitude of bright patches, despite the fact that it does not look in bad repair.
Like someone who puts patches on things for the decorative value, not for mending.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Echo will do a little coin, that like running the coin down your knuckles trick with the wooden token, like in view for like a few seconds, and then whisk it away again, like at Thomas, and say, that was a unique version of that tale, different than any I've ever heard before.
I am a collector of unique tales, as you seem to be a collector of the unique as well. You have in your possession a coin more valuable than any that was tossed to me just a moment ago.
I am following the trail of the person who gave it to me, and that's led me to you, if you are indeed Thomas.
Thomas Merriweather, at your service. May I know your name?
I have a few, but you can call me Echo.
Very well,
Yeah.
Echo.
Yeah, I'm looking for someone in a similar profession as her, and he'll point to the woman who's literally playing a harp.
Ah,
At
I
least a
see.
similar name.
Perhaps this is a conversation that is better had behind closed doors. May I buy you a drink? It is early.
It is, but I've had a hell of a night. Yes, please.
It is late for me. This is the end of my shift.
Yeah, so Echo will follow him to the bar or wherever he's like gesturing for a private room to talk. Will like signal Calder towards the whatever. They're all
Calder will make a passing effort to break up the fight he no doubt started, which has distracted everyone, and will extract himself to go meet up with Echo.
Yeah, not a fight. Like this isn't a it's not evening. We don't have a bunch of drunken revelers here. But yes, you definitely are able to extract yourself. A tiefling in an elven town is a not terribly common sight. They aren't hostile towards you, but you are definitely a person of interest, as is the goblin.
We're turning heads, yeah.
Little bit. And as you begin to leave in the company of Thomas Merriweather, whispers and murmurs begin to pop up behind you, as they seem to everywhere you go these days. And he leads you into a back room.
We go. Is the harp playing woman coming with us, or is it just Thomas?
She will continue to sit on the dais and sort of idly continue to pick at the harp, providing a little bit of ambient music.
Okay. Echo will, if there's a table and chairs, we'll sit and accept whatever drink the dude bought.
It is, let's say, an elven mead. It is damn near completely clear, and it is one of the sweetest things you've ever tasted, but not cloyingly so. It's absolutely delicious, and it warms you without burning.
And it is much more alcoholic than you think it is.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Echo will sip lightly at this drink as we are having this conversation. He's not like downing shots.
This room is free of prying ears, mundane or otherwise. You can speak freely here.
Pleasure to meet you, Thomas.
Likewise, Mr. Creed.
Calder will arc a brow slightly at that.
You knew him, but not me.
Politesse. In public, it would not do for me to say that I know your names. But yes, the two of you are not unknown among my
I
circle.
was not aware my story had reached Silverymoon.
Stories travel faster than the fastest bow or arrow in flight.
I mean, Clarion doesn't live that far from here, and he was here singing songs locally, like, over the past, the year before everything, so, uh, maybe it's not that weird. Okay,
It was my mistake. I did not imagine that I just didn't imagine that my mother would have approved of such a spread of gossip.
Tales have legs of their own.
True.
I imagine that yours will spread far and wide before you're done.
Here's a tale that will hopefully be kept only to those who need to know it. I was sent a message from a woman naming herself Illustrial. She gave me this token. She told me to come here and speak to the musicians who do more than play.
As I say, your words are safe here. We can speak of the Harpers. And he, flourishes the cloak as performers often do, and with an almost, with an overdramatic flourish, turns the inside of the cloak and displays a pin in the shape of a harp.
Echo will pull down, where Hyacinth put the pin and show it off. This was given to me by a friend.
For the first time, you see genuine surprise in his face. Not a lot of it, but you do see a very, very small, he was not expecting that particular token. And he says, I see. Whoever gave you that must trust you implicitly.
I'm not sure if it's a genuine article or not. They seemed uncertain about it, at least to my face.
May I?
Yeah. And he takes it off and hands it over to him.
So he's going to go ahead and cast Detect Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at it and he examines it. And he says, it is genuine. Whoever gave this to you must have either been one of us or taken it from one of us. These are not given lightly.
More likely the former than the latter.
This explains so much about Hyacinth's parents.
And he'll hand it back.
No, he won't say. Calder won't say that out loud, but he has that moment of, this makes so much sense.
Echo takes it and puts it back into place. Illustrial pointed me in your direction because she said we need better protections against scrying, like what this room apparently has, but hopefully portable.
It was a passive irritation at first, but now it manifests a real danger to us.
She said the Harpers could help us with that, at least.
To what end? What is your goal?
Looks at Calder.
As I said,
at a minimum level, thwarting the Xanathar. At a maximum level, thwarting the current Orc incursion.
No surprise there on his face whatsoever. He nods and says, the Xanathar is a minor irritant that has been tolerated by the Harpers to this point. It has
an irritation that can disintegrate me with a stare, so I'm a little more concerned than the Harpers.
He may seem minor out here in Silverymoon, but we were very recently in Waterdeep and might have to be again at some point.
And you fear the wrath of this creature?
I would rather not kill things I don't have to. Killing the Xanathar would represent an escalation that has a higher probability of killing us.
It's a problem we want to be able to decide when to handle it instead of having it decided for us.
You are correct. To those who are under its gaze, the Xanathar is a very dire threat. shall we call it, a regional threat. The incursion of orcs may threaten us all.
I would imagine
Priorities.
you know a little bit more about that than we do.
Yes.
We were
If-
at the forge, but we still don't know a great deal about the why.
It has been many years, but Grumsh stirs again. And he has allies.
Do you know
True.
who?
What do you know of Malak?
What do I know? Let me roll a
Give me a religion check!
I myself, Olivia, knows a lot about this god, but Echo does not.
Doesn't know a damn thing. You've never heard the word.
Aw.
So close.
Neither
Ah!
is Calder.
I'll throw another point at that.
Go for it.
12.
12.
I know a little bit. I know a little bit.
Heard the name before.
You
I
know.
know. I know like the common childhood like the type of myths they tell the children.
You know that Malak often takes the form of a giant savage ape, and you know that it is one of the evil nature spirits. One of the it's not a greater deity, but you know that it is sort of the god of savagery, and with a 12, that's about all you get.
I was like elven minor entity, lesser entity of savagery, right?
Is he elven?
He's elven. My mother told me.
Malak
My
is a
mother told me
god,
this story.
and as such, is elven and not elven. Just as Corellin Lorethian is man and woman, is god and mortal, is all things and no things. The gods are mysterious and strange and powerful,
And frustrating.
and often frustrating.
Helpful at times too.
The two have decided to make good on Grumsh's desire to take over everything within his eye. Everything that his eye can see, he wishes to possess. He wishes the entire land to be nothing but orc holdings.
And the
Irritating.
forge, the stone tooth, is just the first step in that plan.
No, it is not the first step. It is several steps from the first step.
He's been mounting this plan for a while. Then
Unfortunately, this is where my knowledge runs thin. Malak, the god, as you said, of the savage aspect of nature, the god of predators, the god of savagery, the god of lycanthropy.
that will like
Fuck.
get Echo and Calder to share a look.
We ran into
That makes a little too
werewolves
much.
on the way to this city last
That makes-
night.
For the second time, you get a small, like vision of, or not vision, you get a small expression of surprise on his face for the second time since you came here. So far from the north and so soon.
Fuck.
Calder will like it. Calder has like enough political thing to like this. Oh, damn it! They were there for us.
I would find that likely, yes.
Fuck.
We weren't assassins. Great. That is both encouraging and not.
I mean, I warranted an assassin when I was 4 years old, and that didn't work either.
At this time, there is
Yeah,
more
but I met the
information.
person who sent those assassins. He was kind of shit.
There is more information I can share with you, but every piece of knowledge that you earn from this point forward puts you in greater danger. It might be more intelligent should you find a place very deep and very far to hide.
We've been in two very deep, hideable places. Neither of them were terribly appealing.
I'm
Better drag the truth out and have it burn in the daylight.
I'm not interested in running and hiding from any of this. I am heading back to the Stone Tooth.
For what
Calder
purpose?
look at Calder like this
Oh, yeah.
is Echo's probably saying this with all due sureness. Calder will look down at Echo and just have this inward sigh of, as am I.
And what is your purpose at the Stone Tooth?
Calder will crack his neck.
To
I
thwart.
intend to take it in the honor of Lord Barnabas Bouldershore.
And he'll turn to Echo. And you?
And if but if it is impossible, then to see it destroyed.
That will work.
The forge is very old, but there are those who still know its workings. Legend has it that simply working metal over it will create items of surpassing quality and magical effectiveness.
Calder will reach into his pack and pull out the warped bundle of steel. Like this.
He looks
Drop it
down.
on the table.
It's not, from what I understand, 100% certain. You do still need skill.
Meet the only workable piece of steel that we found at the forge.
That he found. I have not actually seen the forge with my own eyes yet.
He looks at the warped blade and he says, "This is recent."
Yes. We found Dwargar working it.
That makes
they were shit, but
a great deal of sense. The Dwargar have always coveted that which the other dwarves possessed. And if they figure out how to work the magic of the forge properly, they could be very, very dangerous.
my issue with that is that either the Dwargar that we found had been there only for a short time, or there is something more to the forge than we know. Either way, something has changed in recent times that make the magic possible.
Are you interested in the forge, Thomas?
No. But I am interested in seeing it not fall into the wrong hands.
And at present, Orcish hands not high on my list of responsible adults.
I'm just going to come out and say it. Do you have some way to offer us protection from scrying?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Then the obvious next question is, will you?
Could we have that, please?
He looks Echo directly in the eyes and notes the scarring on the face.
Yeah,
and says,
for the audience and for other people, the scars pattern, it's kind of an Art Nouveau. It's two harps with 4-leaf clovers branching out from them.
He says, "Well, in that case, I have both an offer and a charge for you. If you are willing to accept both, then I can give you my protection. And the protection of those that I work with and those that I answer to." And he looks again directly in Echo's eyes and says, "Are you truly prepared to face the horrors of the Forge and take or destroy that which the Orcs seek? Are you truly ready to put that on the line, knowing what you face?"
Echo takes a second, doesn't break eye contact, but takes a second, and then says, "I lost everything to an item of magical importance, of legendary abilities, and the horrible, violent people who sought it. Calder, my friend, destroyed that one. Destroyed the Galthias tree that was under the Sunless Citadel. I'm not going to let this forge be the next Galthias tree. One way or another, I am committed, and I will see it done."
He turns to Calder. "I sense hesitance in you, my friend. Are you similarly prepared to do what it takes and possibly sacrifice what it takes?"
I have been to the Forge of Fury. I have burned its protectors. I have faced a dragon. and I lost friends down there. I have absolutely no desire to see it in the hands of creatures that want me dead.
Then I offer you 2 gifts. And as I said, also a charge. The first, he reaches into his pouch and he pulls out an identical pin. And he says, I intended to offer you a place among the Harpers, Echo. But I feel you are already as much of a Harper as I am. Will you accept this token?
Yes.
It, and the sibling which you carry upon you, will shield you from the magical eyes of those who seek you. My second gift is one of knowledge. Grumsh and Malik seek magic that hasn't been seen since the days of the Spell Plague. They seek to corrupt the nature of Faerun. They seek to corrupt nature itself. They do this to gather some sort of magical energy for some kind of ritual. They draw energy from the blight, which you have encountered so many times.
Our favorite.
Now, what their aim is with the energy that they are gathering, I do not know, but this is a worldwide crisis. They are gathering this energy from all corners, and they seek to do something truly destructive with it. If you can take the forge, if you can destroy it, or at the very least see it in the right hands, and if I am able, and mine are able to find out more, then we can give you more information and elevate you among our ranks. I know that fame and fortune are not necessarily your aims here, which is good, because fame and fortune are rarely the domain of the Harpers. We act in the shadows. Find out what they are up to. Secure the forge. Then return to me. That is the charge I lay upon you. And I wish you to see it as powerful as any geese ever cast by the most powerful wizards.
I will accept it. But we're going to need 3 more of those buttons. Our party is not just the 2 of us.
We will give you their names so that you may vet them as you deem fit.
This can be done.
We don't have to tell them what the Harpers are, but they need the protection from scrying if they will be traveling with us, and they will.
I cannot offer you more of the pins. These are only for those who have accepted the charge and have joined the ranks of the Harpers. However, he turns around and he goes and sort of pushes aside a panel in the back wall.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
And he pulls
Secret agency.
he pulls a small lockbox that is very ornate. And but faster than you can see, faster than even you can see, manipulates several mechanical and potentially magical mechanisms. That sentence got away from me. To open the box. And he hands you a trio of rings. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up.
Oh, man.
I'm going to go ahead and pull up.
Are these the rings I think they are? Got little tiny brains on them?
Basically, yes. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and jump back to the game. And I will go ahead and share with you the ring.
Yeah! Ring of mind shielding.
These will protect you from prying eyes, but be careful with them. Should you perish while wearing one, your essence may be trapped within. There is always a cost to magic of this power, as I believe you are well aware.
Yeah,
That should.
thank you.
You will stay for a day or so, perhaps?
We need. Our companion was badly injured en route.
He's being
That is
treated at the temple.
This companion of yours, his identity, I presume, must be kept secret?
We did say we would tell you who they were, the three who are going to be working with us.
The fact that you ask indicates that you know exactly who we're talking about.
Yes, indeed. I wish you luck then, friends. That token and that pin will provide you access to the circles that will allow you to travel between the cities. The Harpers have such circles in nearly every population center on Faerun.
Is there one in Tribor?
Yes.
So that's where we need to get to next to collect the rest of our party before venturing northward to the Stone Tooth.
To you, Tribor is merely a few steps away.
We have a horse and cart. Is that going to be a trouble?
We might need to leave that behind.
I'm afraid so. The building which houses the circle would not contain a cart.
We can take the bulk of our belongings, but I will need to have that cart returned to a place where it will be safe.
We could hire someone to take it back to
I will
the
have
estate.
it returned to the. I'll have it be returned to the Cheval estate.
This can be arranged, yes.
We will probably be here a day, seeing our friend healed and the cart and horses taken care of, and then we should come meet you back here.
Should you ever require anything, simply mention that you are here at my behest, and it will be yours. My name carries a great deal of weight in Silverymoon.
We'll be happy to liberally name drop you.
That other name that you mentioned earlier should probably not escape your lips.
Yeah, I hear most people think she's dead.
For very good reason. She is the one who is currently attempting to divine, through methods both mundane and magical, the true intent of Grumsh and his allies.
Yeah, she promised she would find the name of their leader for me.
One more piece of information that perhaps would be interesting to you.
Mm-hmm.
The tribe of Many Arrows is aware, and neither condones nor wishes to engage with those tribes who have decided to take up the mantle of Malak. Many Arrows will be a neutral party in this unless he can be convinced otherwise.
Then that means that he's waiting to see which side is likely to come out on top.
It was always known that the peace of Many Arrows was a tenuous thing. Do not fail.
Ultimately, this is good. This means that the nation is more fractured than we thought.
It is good as long as you do not fail. If you do, then the world may simply fall. Yes. We cannot have another war of Many Arrows.
Until then, we can assume that most of the forces will be gathering at Mirabar. Do you happen to know if the battle hammers have gotten involved yet?
The battle hammers, so far as I know, have not made any moves one way or another. The dwarves often move slowly. And
that I will agree.
Now that the orcs have moved, I would not be surprised if they began to mobilize as well.
It's more in their neighborhood than anyone else's.
It is. And Mithril Hall has never suffered orcs to invade their domain.
Thank you.
Similarly, Silverymoon is likely to remain neutral until it becomes their problem.
They are insular
You thought
these days.
you thought dwarves were slow to move.
Now, my friends, they will be missing me out in the hall. Is there anything else I
It's
can
okay.
do for you before we part ways?
I'm sure their aim will improve by this evening.
You could be a bard yourself.
Echo is going to
I'm witty, not musical.
Echo is going to very carefully put the rings in the bag of holding and then hold out a hand towards Thomas and shake on it.
His hand, being an older human, his hand is weathered and leathery, calloused from playing stringed instruments, but grips like iron, but not in a crushing grip. Simply powerful.
Echo will put his other hand on top of, grab the guy, grab him with both hands and say, "Go break a leg." And he casts guidance on him.
And with that, friends, I think we're going to go ahead and end our session. And
Long rest is next.
Long rest is next. I'll go ahead and apply that now so that I don't forget.
But isn't there another thing?
Remind me if there is.
Level.
Oh yes, of course. That's right. Let's do that in the post game though. We're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and apply the long rest.
I'm gonna say so. We would, take a long rest in the accommodations here. Go check on Barnabas, and then with the intention to come find Thomas as soon as everything is set into place, and be on our way to Tribor.
Fantastic. Moving on to the post game show.